Welcome back. Today we're making pumpkin bars with a delicious cream cheese frosting. The first thing I need to do is preheat my oven to 350 degrees, and then I'm going to prepare my dry ingredients. So in a large mixing bowl, I'm going to add 2 cups of white all-purpose flour, and once I've got that added, I'm going to go ahead and add my sugar. I'm using white sugar. I'm going to use 1 2/3 cup of the white sugar. Once I've got the sugar added, I'm going to go ahead and add my baking soda. I'm going to add to that a teaspoon of baking soda. I'm going to add to that baking powder. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of that. And I'm also going to add a teaspoon of salt, which I forgot to record. I'm also going to add 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. And once I've got all that added, I'm just going to give it a real quick stir just to kind of incorporate the ingredients just a bit. And once I've got that mixed, I'm set that to the side. I'm going to prepare my stand mixer. To my stand mixer, I'm going to add 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin puree. You want to use the puree, not the pumpkin pie filling. And then I'm going to add to that 1 cup of oil. I'm using canola oil, but you could use vegetable oil if you'd like. And then I'm going to add to that 4 eggs. Now, I always make sure, I don't show this, but in between doing the eggs and actually starting, I always wash my hands very well. And I'm going to add to that a couple teaspoons of vanilla. I'm going to set my paddle attachment on there, and I'm just going to let this stir really well. I want to incorporate it well. If you don't have a stand mixer, you can certainly use the hand mixer to do this. And then I'm going to slowly add in my dry ingredients. I'm just going to do that a little bit at a time. And once I've got all the dry ingredients added, I'm just going to give it a really quick swirl. I want to make sure that's all mixed nice and well. And once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and clean my paddles off and give it just a really good scraping with a spatula. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and prepare my jelly roll pan. If you don't have a jelly roll pan like this, you can certainly use a cookie sheet. I'll have the measurements down below. And I'm just going to pour in my batter. And I just want to make sure I evenly spread that around. This is going to rise quite a bit. And I'm just going to make sure it's kind of even. Get that little last bit done. And then I'm going to put it in the oven. And I'm going to let this bake for about 25 to 30 minutes. I start checking it at about 25 minutes. And I'm just going to put that in there and let it go. And there we're checking it. It's nice and done through. It springs back when touched. Now to prepare the frosting, I'm going to add to my stand mixer 1 stick of butter and 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese. I'm using full fat, but you can use the reduced fat cream cheese in this. And then I'm just going to mix this. And I'm going to let this mix for a good 3 to 4 minutes. I want to make sure this is mixed very well. To that, I'm going to add my vanilla, which I'm going to add about a teaspoon. And then I'm going to add my powdered sugar. Now, I used about 6 cups of powdered sugar. You may need a little bit less. You may need a little bit more. At this point, I start kind of watching it at about the 4-cup mark. And once I get it to the desired consistency, I am going to add a little bit of heavy cream. I feel the heavy cream really adds to the flavor. It gives it a richness. And once that's done, I'm just going to go ahead and scrape that down and get that ready to spread on my pumpkin bars. I have let my pumpkin bars cool to room temperature, and I'm going to go ahead and spoon that on there, and I'm just going to spread that around with a little knife. You could use a pastry knife if you'd like, a butter knife, a spatula, it really doesn't matter. Whatever you have is fine. Now, I like a lot of frosting on these bars. I think they really bring out the flavor of the pumpkin because the bars themselves are not real sweet, but this frosting is very sweet. And I just spread that around until it's evenly coated. And once I've got that done, I'm going to go ahead and cut this. You can cut these into pieces as small or as large as you like. I tend to go on the smaller side. That's all. These are moist, they're delicious, and they're a little bit tangy. Thank you for watching. I hope hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more from me in the future, hit that subscribe button down below. I'm trying to post 3 videos a week, 2 cooking and baking videos, along with 1 randomness vlog. I'm sorry I missed last week's pumpkin spice recipe. I actually made mini crustless pumpkin pies, and, well, I forgot to hit record until I realized it when I was putting them in the oven. So I'm going to remake them. Such a shame, they were so good. I guess I'll have to sacrifice and make them again so I can eat them again. My friends and family will be happy that I made that mistake. They're quite delicious and quite easy. But today I've shared my pumpkin bar recipe with cream cheese frosting. Now you don't have to use as much cream cheese frosting as I use. I like a thick layer. You could also use canned if you'd like. I don't care for canned frosting. That's why I don't use it. To me, it's not as good, and it's just as easy to make it yourself. But I don't fault anybody for that. Totally acceptable. But anyhow, these are really moist and they're delicious. They'll stay good for about 3 to 4 days. I just keep them covered in an airtight container or in on a plate in a Ziploc bag, just to make sure there's no air to them. You can keep them on the counter. They're really, really good, really delicious, and just a really good pumpkin flavor. Not overwhelming, and something a little different. So I think that's about it. If you make these, let me know how they turn out for you, or if you have a favorite pumpkin recipe, let me know what it is. I'm always looking for new recipes. I hope you guys have a great day, and remember, not every day is good, but there's always something good in every day, and I will see you next time.